Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the strangest, shiniest, and most spectacular experiments ever forged from copper, chrome, and pure ambition. Allow me to introduce the 1965 Mercer Cobra Roadster, a one-off bronze-kissed anomaly that looks like it escaped halfway from a racetrack and halfway from a jeweler's display case. Imagine taking the raw muscle of a Shelby Cobra, wrapping it in the elegance of a Gilded Age road racer, and then handing the whole concept to an Italian coach builder with a taste for sculpture. That's the Mercer Cobra, part race car, part Art Deco masterpiece, and completely impossible to ignore. To understand why this copper unicorn exists, we need to rewind to the early 1960s. Virgil Exner, the design mastermind who gave Chrysler its futuristic forward look, had recently stepped away from corporate life. But he wasn't done shaping metal dreams. He believed American car design had started to lose its identity. Everything was becoming predictable, safe, and too similar. Then Esquire magazine approached him with a bold question. What would iconic American marques from the early 1900s look like if they were reborn for the jet age? Exner and his son Virgil Jr. took that question and turned it into an entire design movement. Their Revival Cars series reimagined long-lost names like Packard, Stutz, Duesenberg, and Mercer as modern versions of their legendary past selves. Among these sketches, one stood out, a modern interpretation of the 1911 Mercer Raceabout, one of Erica's earliest performance legends. That drawing caught the eye of George M. Hartley, the head of the Copper Development Association. Where others saw a cool concept, Hartley saw marketing gold, or rather, copper. He wanted a rolling advertisement that proved copper wasn't limited to wiring and plumbing. He wanted something that shimmered, something that shouted craftsmanship and innovation in every curve. So he commissioned Exner to bring the Mercer to life, not in fiberglass or in clay, but in a symphony of copper-based alloys. To give the Mercer its backbone, Exner chose a legend, the Shelby Cobra. The project used chassis CSX 2451, delivered as a basic kit from Shelby American in 1964. The frame was lengthened to a 108-inch wheelbase, giving room for the exaggerated hood, the sweeping fenders, and the aggressive stance that Exner envisioned. Beneath that extended body sat Ford's fire-breathing 289 cubic-inch V8, the same engine that powered Cobras to racing glory. No official horsepower numbers were published, but Cobras with similar setups produced around 270 to 300 horsepower, more than enough to make the Mercer frighteningly quick if anyone ever dared give it a proper thrashing. The suspension, brakes, and steering all came straight from the Cobra playbook, meaning the Mercer wasn't just shiny, it could actually perform. The next challenge was finding a coach builder talented enough to turn Exner's drawing into a physical sculpture. With Carrozzeria Ghia unavailable, Exner turned to Carrozzeria Sibona-Basano, a rising Italian workshop known for forming metal like musicians shaping music. Under the hands of master craftsman Pietro Sibona, the Mercer took shape, and what a shape it was! The car used 11 different copper-based alloys. The grille was real brass, interior pieces were finished in copper, the exhaust shields were made from silicon bronze. Even the brake discs incorporated copper alloys for added performance. And to keep all that metal gleaming instead of tarnishing, much of it was sealed under clear acrylic. This wasn't copper-colored paint, this was actual copper, shaped, polished, and showcased like a moving art installation. The design itself blended old-world charm with futuristic flair. The frameless plexiglass windshield wrapped around the cabin like a visor. The headlights disappeared flush into the nose when not in use, giving the car a sleek, aerodynamic look. The engine sides were left exposed, echoing early Grand Prix racers. The rear fenders curved upward like Art Deco eyebrows, leaving the rear wheels dramatically on display. And that brass grille, tall, proud, and unmistakably Mercer, anchored the front like the prow of a ship cutting through time itself. Once completed, the Copper Development Association didn't hide the car in a private collection. They sent it on a global tour. Detroit, New York, London, Delhi, wherever it appeared, crowds gathered. The Mercer Cobra wasn't just a car, it was proof that craftsmanship still mattered, that bold ideas could still shine, and that copper could be more glamorous than chrome. Only one Mercer Cobra Roadster was ever made. That alone puts it in a category beyond rare. This is automotive mythology forged in metal. In 2011, it crossed the RM Monterey auction block and sold for $660,000, just under $1 million in today's money. And honestly, for a car this bold, this intricate, and this historically important, that almost feels like a bargain. So here's to the Mercer Cobra Roadster, a glittering, copper-clad challenge to the ordinary. A machine built not for speed alone, but to inspire wonder. A reminder that sometimes the most unforgettable cars aren't mass-produced. They're dreamed, sculpted, and allowed to shine exactly once.